Yeah, how about you just bloody play the opener, please?
Shining a light on autism and life as an autistic person. Welcome to My Friend Autism, a podcast breaking down barriers, stigma, and misconceptions around autism while increasing understanding and acceptance of the autistic community. And now, here's your neurodivergent host, Orion Kelly.
Welcome. I'm Orion Kelly, that autistic guy. I'm all about providing validation and support for autistic people and their loved ones. And this is my podcast, My Friend Autism. Thank you for watching on my podcast channel on YouTube, Orion Kelly Podcasts, or not so much thank you for listening, just listening to my audio podcast. What are you in, 2015? Okay. Personally apologize. By the way, thank you for checking out My Friend Autism, because I'm all about providing my friends validation and support for autistic people and their loved ones. Whether you listen to my podcast, wherever you get your podcasts, or you watch it on YouTube, I'm happy to have you, and I want you to be here, and thank you. Apart from James. James, you can go. All you do is text me feedback. I don't need it. It's a joke. Just a friend of mine. It's okay. All right, sir, let's do this. Mastering relationships for autistic adults. How important? Is there a more important topic? And I'm being serious when I ask that question, not a rhetorical question. So it's a skill that's incredibly important, right? We need it. Relationships, mastering them. But so many challenges for autistic adults, from building to maintaining relationships. This one, in fact, I'm looking at it, and this looks like I've got a crap load of information here. I mean, I'm talking like maybe 50% more strategies to help you than I've got on any other video. So I'm not joking here when I say this is going to be a good one. And when I say that, I almost never have any confidence in that. And today, I would say my confidence levels have not changed. Okay, let's start with just working out what we're talking about here. Because when I say relationships, do not fall into the trap of me thinking just one type. I want to cover all types. All right? So let's go through them. Relationships and autism. It could be dating. It could be friendships. Important to me, it could be dynamics of family. Building and maintaining relationships is a massive challenge. Let's start with dating. Because a lot of people may look back, if you have a partner, if you're married or you've just given up. George Costanza style. You just chill out in trackpads. Tracky dacks. Romantic relationships can be a source of a lot of joy and support for, younger or older autistic people. But they also come with massive challenges. And you know what? Yes, probably when they're neurodiverse relationships, meaning autistic person and neurotypical, as in a person who is not neurodivergent in any way. Well, that makes no sense, Orion. Surely it'd be better to have someone who's kind of like yin and yang. And of course it would. Of course it bloody would. But there's still many challenges. Let's go through some of them. So, social cues. You might misunderstand your partner's non-verbal signals, your partner's body language, facial expressions. What happens then? Well, you're going to have some communication breakdowns, some real issues around communication. Because again, if we're talking about an autistic brain, okay, and a neurotypical brain, we're going to struggle to connect. They don't natively connect. There's like an adapter that needs to be placed in the middle to get these two to connect, right? I don't know if I've just created one of the great of all time, one of the great metaphors of all time. I feel like I have, and I feel vulnerable and mistreated knowing that it's probably already out there. The point I'm making is the adapter in the middle is something that both of us do, okay? So we know there's going to be communication differences because we have different brains. Okay, so the adapter in the middle is me knowing I have no idea what's going on here, and the neurotypical partner going, I am giving all the body language, all the nonverbal signals you could give, and I'm getting nothing. Right? The adapter in the middle is, look, just in case you can't see from how I'm sitting or acting, I'm feeling a little hurt right now, okay? And for me, I would say something like, well, I don't know if it's just me, but it seems like you might be a little bit anxious or agitated or upset or grumpy or angry or something. I don't know what it is, but are you feeling something, and what is it? Can you just tell me? That's the adapter. More challenges. Sensory sensitivities. Now, you might find crowded, noisy places overwhelming as an autistic person, right? Well, okay, so we're dating. As a rule, we're not going to be staying home a lot. So typical dating venues are going to be nightmares because they're bloody noisy. Bars, restaurants, cafes, parties, outdoors, there are lots of people, indoors, lots of people. These might seem okay and cool, like in a romantic dating sense, but in reality, you get there and you just want to die. These are massive issues when you're dating. Also, routine and change, because we rely on our routine and we rely on our normality of the day. So this difficulty in adapting, again, I'm talking about dating specifically here. What happens in dating? You might get a text or a message spontaneously. Hey, do you want to catch up tonight? Do you want to do this tonight? Or conversely, you may have planned your entire week around a date, but then they might go, I've got to work late, or I feel unwell, or can we do this tomorrow instead? Right? I just need an early night or something like that. Which presumably means they're just saying, oh, I've got someone else on the boil and they're better than you. I don't know. I'm just saying, regardless, this is a real challenge for an autistic person navigating dating. Also, metaphors and sarcasm. So we talked about communication, but the verbal and the non-verbal kind of cues and signals, signs, they're crazy. But just plain metaphoric speaking, because you can take, now, again, we have to look at this from both points of view. Neurotypical people all the time will ask me, are you joking? Is that a joke? You're making a joke, right? Okay, cool. So I get it. It works both ways. But you could take a partner's sarcastic comment literally. Now, conversely, you could say something that they take offense to, and that was never your intention. So this, again, that's why the adapter in the middle there to get them to connect, because they don't connect natively, is super important. Expressing emotions. This is another big challenge. So if you struggle to verbally express your feelings as an autistic person, when we can experience things like alexithymia, we're not only struggling to identify and convey, express our own feelings and emotions, we can struggle to pick up on others, right? Oh, I'm not sure what you're feeling here. I think there's something. I don't know what it is. I'm just going to shut up. Or they've started crying. Okay, I'm just going to look awkwardly into the corner, or maybe I'll start giggling awkwardly. This is going to lead to meltdowns and shutdowns. Well, why, Orion? Because if you can't express your own emotions verbally or in any way or identify them as an autistic person, child or adult, you can lead to a shutdown or a meltdown because you just become so overwhelmed and over-triggered. Put that aside. There's also just plain misunderstandings. You're misunderstanding each other. And what happens then? Then you start to have conversations about not caring about the emotional needs of the other person. Now, autistic people do not just cast off any care of the emotional needs of someone they're dating. That's just not true. But we are going to struggle to automatically go, right, I can see this emotion. I know how to fix that or how to deal with it. These are rules. These are conventions. These are things we were never actually given. You've got to keep that in mind if you want that adapter to work. This one could be the biggest challenge I ever faced when I was young, back in the early 1920s, in dating. Reading romantic interest. Never. Literally never. unless you came up to me physically and verbally and said, Orion, I like you. I'd like to go out with you. Can we go out? And I mean specifically you and me in this real world, in reality, on a non-just, platonic friendship outing. I mean, that's serious. I'm not joking. Not recognizing subtle signs of interest or disinterest, by the way, from potential partners is a massive challenge for autistic people. You know what's funny for me? So, yeah, I was one of those people where I feel like I went almost my entire life, and I feel like I may not have ever actually made the first move or even asked someone out. Although it's not like I didn't want to, but it never occurred to me that that is something they would be up for, into. And I work on the premise, and I still do. And this could be many reasons, being autistic, feeling left out, not fitting in. I work on the premise that no one likes me on any level. And that's the fact, unless proven otherwise. It's the criminal law defense. Yeah. See what I'm saying? I'm hated until proven liked. It's the presumption of hate. Oh, snap. Yeah, I presume I'm hated until proven liked or otherwise. And by the way, this is a complete non-relevant tangent, but the presumption of innocence, right? That's what it's called. It's called the presumption of innocence. You are presumed innocent until proven guilty. Now, if you're proven that you're guilty, you're guilty. Fine. Okay. But what happens if you're not proven guilty? Does that mean we revert back to the presumption of innocence and therefore you're innocent? No. What happens? What say you? You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying here? The judge or your jury. What say you, Madam Foreperson, or whatever the hell right? We find the defendant not guilty. Sorry, Judge, just a quick question, champ. That presumption of innocence thing? Yeah, shouldn't they say we find the defendant innocent? Because they're presumed innocent until proven guilty, and they've just said they're not guilty. Shouldn't that mean we find the defendant innocent? No, they're not guilty. So that sounds like they're guilty, you just didn't prove it. Yeah, that's right. So hang on a second. So they're presumed innocent, but then once they're found they're not guilty, they're not innocent anymore. They're just not proven guilty. So they're guilty. So the presumption of innocence doesn't exist. Is that what you're saying? I'm just trying to catch up here, champ. I'm just trying to catch up, right? So you're charged with something, but presumed innocent. But then once you're charged and it goes through the system, you're either guilty or not guilty. So in other words, you're guilty. It's a presumption of guilt, and the only way out is being found not guilty, which just means they couldn't prove you were guilty, but they still have labeled you from now on guilty. Do you see what I'm saying? This is what I'm talking about. This is a podcast on relationships. I've gone off on a rant about the presumption of innocence, but you know what? This is important to me. So good for you. You want to break up with me? That's fine. Welcome to my world. What I was going to say was the presumption of hate thing. Is I honestly I wouldn't have known the difference. I mean, I would not have known the next day that I'd go on a date and they'd never want to see me again. I had no idea that was coming and what went wrong. Apparently, you can't talk about certain things like on a first date or something, which makes no sense to me. But anyway, apparently you can't be honest and open and real and, you can't tell the truth. You can't talk about real stuff. I don't know what the first date or I don't know what any dating even means. It's not real life is the answer, Orion. This is going to be a good one. All right, more challenges in dating. How about initiating contact? So feeling anxious about initiating a date or a conversation. There's this fear of rejection. Like I said, that's me. Don't remember ever making the first move. And it's not because I didn't want to. It's because I actually not only didn't realize it, couldn't realize the signs, but There is absolutely no way, because of my presumption of hate, that I'd even think that that's a good thing to do. I'd be filled with anxiety and sheer fear. Well, why would I ask someone who presumably hates me? That makes no sense. Eye contact, another thing. Have you ever been told by someone, could you at least show some respect and look me in the eye when I'm talking to you? Have you ever heard that before? That's just the stupidest thing. I'm sorry, that's just the stupidest thing. It really is. When you think about it logically, I mean, for me, you know, a really basic and crude, I understand, argument could be, you know, it's like telling someone who's hearing impaired, could you just at least listen to what I'm saying, right? Or, you know, someone who is vision impaired, could you at least look at me when I'm talking? See, the autistic brain processes information differently and, frankly, at a different speed and in a different way. And an eye contact, a forced eye contact, is an action. It's not a natural way of being. It's an action that actually works not in conjunction with, against hearing and processing information. So you're choosing for us to stop listening to you, processing what you're saying, showing respect, and to look at you instead to show you respect, and therefore disrespect you because we weren't able to listen or process what you're saying because you've asked us to do a different action, which doesn't come naturally to us. What happens? We are constantly misinterpreted and mislabeled as arrogant, disinterested, doesn't care, lack of respect, blah, blah, blah. What a load of crap. Anyway, this is a big issue. And, you know, in dating, they say, you know, like, you know, these kind of, you see it in the eye. It's all in the eye. Soul, the thing to the soul to the thing. The eye is the soul to the shoes or something. I don't know what the hell we're talking about. It's either way, you know, hey, some people like socks, some people like bare feet. It is what it is. I don't know what that means. Managing social exhaustion. So you're dating, but you're autistic. So you're going to feel drained during and after social interactions. What does that mean? Well, it means that when you're dating or after a date, you're going to need more alone time to recharge, to re-regulate yourself after being completely dysregulated and drained from dating situations. And the problem with that is, that's a challenge, right? But what happens then? They're going to think you don't want to see them. You'd rather be alone. But it's, no. I want to go on dates with you, but when I do that, I don't get a choice. It's going to drain me. It's going to basically put me out, and I'm going to have to recharge. But it's never taken that way. I want to give you some practical tips to fix these, for dating specifically. Just the last one I want to talk about before I give you these tips is my old friend. Not Darkness. He is also quite a strong acquaintance. Small talk. Bloody small talk. Dating and small talk. My vibe is, if you're on a date and you can't move past small talk to genuine, how else would I describe this? Let me think. Just stick with me. Genuine, fulfilling, enjoyable. What else words would it be? Meaningful conversations. If you can't move to those and you're stuck in like this small talk, you don't date again. See ya. You should be able to pretty much jump to real conversation straight away, or it's not going to work. Because autistic people don't do the small talk. And most people actually like to have real conversations. Small talk is a warm-up for them, but for autistic people, it's not a warm-up. It's a cool-down. You know, you're fasting. You're speeding up the process of souring the milk, right? Just casual conversations, bloody challenging. We want deeper connections, deeper discussions. And that's a big challenge for dating. But it shouldn't be. But it was for me. Like on first dates, not that I had many, I remember, my conversations would be how you'd expect. But that was a bad thing for some people. And that's okay because they weren't meant to be. But I couldn't partake in the other stuff because it was so meaningless. It made no sense. Why wouldn't you want to talk about life goals, children, marriage, properties, things in future on the first date? Why wouldn't you? Apparently, they don't. Precious little petals. I'm very sorry. Tips. Let's go. Practical tips for navigating these challenges in dating, my friends. Open communication. Yep. Open communication. Regularly check in with your partner about how they're feeling and any concerns they might have. Works both ways. The adapter works both ways. Regularly check in. Open communication. Leave nothing to chance. Here's another one. When you're planning dates, plan dates that are appropriate for both people. Okay, so less crowded places, cozier, quieter environments, right? I love to go to places in nature, but maybe, parks or walks or places that aren't full of people. Or, that really nice cafe or restaurant that's just in a quiet area, and it's, even though it's the best, it's quite small and never really that crazy. Brilliant. So easy. Such a quick fix. This is a weird one. I'm sorry if this makes no sense, but if you like movies, do dates in daytime. And this might have to be, now and then. But the movies, the cinemas, whatever you call it, at nighttime are nuts, yeah? Bloody nuts. Bloody stupid. Daytime, not so much. Except on school holidays. Don't go on school holidays. That would be, I've got 2 kids and I wouldn't. That's just kind of push them out the door. And when they learn to walk, it'll be much easier. But in the meantime, you see what I'm saying? All right. Now, preparing for change. We talked about this with the issues of dealing with things. Backup plan. You need backup plans. Things are going to change. Unexpected things are going to happen. Prepare for them. Have backup plan in place for date coming up. We've got a date coming up. We're going to do this. Just in case blah or blah happens, here's what we can do. Okay, so let's lock in Thursday night, and we'll pencil in Friday night as a backup, just in case. Or we can do it on Sunday, right? And then you can plan accordingly. Intentions is really important. So you need to clarify your intentions, because dating isn't an end game. Dating for some is a game. Dating for some is just a torturous act. Dating for some is an action of I am trying to find my person. Dating, for others is kind of, I don't know, a hobby. I don't know, is a way of getting out there. For some, dating is just a form of therapy. So that's cool. You need to be clear about your feelings, about what you mean, what your intentions are, how you feel, what you think, what you're here for, to avoid misunderstandings. You can't have the intention of enjoying your youth and experiencing fun interactions with people, like-minded people. You can't confuse that with I'm trying to find someone to marry and have kids with next week. And we're talking clear, crystal clear. Autistic people need it. And it doesn't need to be sugarcoated. Honestly, what's the worst thing? What's the worst thing that can happen? It's dating, right? You need to express your emotions in your own way as well. Now, I'll give you an example, okay? This is my example. So neurotypical people might express their emotions verbally very easily. And that's great. Me, it's always been the same. If I had some deep stuff, something emotional, deep I wanted to share, I would write it down, like on a piece of paper, or I would text it or email it. I found emailing it or texting it, or even, writing it down on a bit of paper if I was wanting to do it before it lost, lost the thought in my head and I just wanted to scribble it down. I found that to be the absolute best go-to. Verbal expression is really challenging in these situations because there's a lot of emotion involved and that's hard to get your head around. I use this all the time. Honestly, autistic people, don't let it overwhelm you. Text it, email it, write it down, record it, whatever works for you. And in neurodiverse relationships, for the neurotypical person, the non-autistic person, maybe that will work for you too. Maybe they like to read things rather than hearing them. Maybe it'll make more sense and more beneficial for you to share your emotions, as in like big things that are important to talk about, in an email sense. So you want to have a big conversation about something important. Maybe the first part is an email, and then that's an opportunity to go and we can talk about it more tonight. And this leads into the next one, which is feedback. You have to encourage your partner to let you know how you're doing, where you stand. And this can be through providing more support to them. So you might ask the autistic person, they might say, it'd be great if you could help me in these things, support me here. And, conversely, it might be, I need a little bit more understanding in here and here. I need a little bit more help from you to understand, your autistic brain in these situations. So nothing gets left to chance and nothing gets interpreted the wrong way, which is devastating in relationships. You can take breaks when needed. I don't mean like Ross on Friends. I mean alone time. If you need to take a break, like let's say you guys always date, always go out on dates on the weekend, and one weekend, it's just been one of those weeks and you just need a weekend to just recharge, have some alone time, relax, whatever. Take it. Take it. If you need it, you need it. It's as simple as that. Common interests should be focused on, my friends. You need to engage in activities that you both love, you're both passionate about. Because what happens? Connection. That becomes the adapter. Focusing on common interests builds and connects and strengthens connections. Clear boundaries, super important. Clearly communicate your personal boundaries and respect those of your partner. Everyone has boundaries, and if you have boundaries and people don't know them, you're an idiot. I'm sorry if that was painful here. If you didn't hear it, what I said was, if you have boundaries and no one knows them, you're an idiot. Actually, you're a moron. So you don't have boundaries then, mate. Oh, no, I do, Orion. No, you don't. You can't have boundaries but then no one knows what they are. Then there's no boundaries, you idiot. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to call you an idiot. I'm frustrated. People get pushed around and poked and prodded, and it's bloody stupid. You need to tell people your boundaries. Yes, you are allowed them. You're entitled to them. You're worth them. You deserve them. And self-care, so important. You got to take care of your own needs, my friends. You got to put your oxygen mask on first. That is going to help you be a better partner, and that's going to help your partner, the person you're dating. Simple. Can I just quickly talk about the online side of dating? Autistic people, we can be very vulnerable and easily taken advantage of. And look, online dating can be just a fantastic way, a fantastic platform for neurodivergent people, autistic people to connect. It gives us, I guess, this opportunity to have communication, but it reduces the pressure of in-person interactions and communications. So it's a good thing, right? We love the online world. We can kind of hide behind things and it gives us safety in our own environment and all this kind of stuff. Okay, cool. But to succeed in online dating, you have to choose platforms that actually cater for neurodivergent people. At least have some sort of supportive, understanding community. You have to choose the right platform. There are no use using dating sites which are in no way designed or supportive of neurodivergent people. I mean, no crap. Here's another one. Be honest in your profile. Did you know, autistic people, that when you put a real photo of yourself and you really write things like true things, did you know that the other people, the neurotypical people, don't? Yeah, so whatever that photo is, that was taken 30 years ago, right? Yeah, that's right. 30 years ago. And all that information, absolute rubbish. Absolute, like you literally write, this is a photo I took right now on my phone. Doesn't look very good, but it's real. And here's what I like. And what they like is just all generic. Doesn't mean anything. So, good. Because autistic people are going to look at those and go, well, that's weird. You're like, what? Who? There's a difference between short walks and long walks. I mean, so you mean you like walks? Is that what you're saying? Clearly state your interests. Why? Because you're clearly stating what you're looking for in a relationship, in a potential partner. Take your time online, okay? Don't rush into meeting people in person. For God's sakes, get to know people. Get to know each other online. Do not rush into meeting people in person. And you know, this is not something you really should be doing without the knowledge of others, by the way, that you trust, that are safe. So just take your time. There is no rush. People will rush you because they want stuff from you. Tough luck. Communication expectations. You need to agree on, how you'll communicate, how often you'll communicate, and in what ways. FaceTime, text, emails, calls, which is bizarre. But again, set those expectations. Be clear and direct. This is hard online, so you have to avoid ambiguous language. Be straightforward in your messages. Be clear, be direct. Now, video calls can be really helpful because they help bridge the gap between online and in person. Why is that? Because you're physically seeing each other and talking. And I like this too because from every episode of like Catfish, whatever I've ever watched, the people that won't do that or keep putting that off or keep cancelling that aren't who you think they are. So if you're dating online and you want to move to the next phase and you're asking for video calls, like person-to-person, face-to-face meetings, calls online, and it's not happening, it's not being allowed, or it keeps getting put off, move on. Move on. They're not who you think they are. Regular check-ins is really important too. So I mean this like online. Plan regular times to catch up online and chat. Discuss. Maybe you think you're in a relationship purely online. Discuss that. You need to respect each other's space. So you need to understand and respect that, the person you're dating, your partner, needs time alone. Look for shared activities you can do online. So can you watch things together online? Can you play games online? Build connections online. Safety is a premium. If you are ever going to meet, it's got to be in public places. And you need to tell safe people. Safety is paramount in any form of online interaction. You've got to verify the person, they're authentic. Make sure this is the person you're talking to. No, you should never share personal information too quickly as well, please. You've got to trust your instincts. If something feels off, it's probably off. It's okay to step back. Reassess the situation. Like I said, confirming, understanding that this person might not be who they think they are. And you've got to keep your details safe, like personal information. You can't start giving everyone online you're dating or talking to your home address, your financial information, that kind of stuff. I mean, no. Reputable platforms, stick to the well-known ones, all right? Good security measures, good long history of some level of safety. You've got to trust your instincts. Doesn't feel right, it's not. Simple. You should report suspicious behavior. So report any suspicious profiles or messages to the platform's support team. You should be yourself. Be you. Share your real interests and personality from the start. Don't start pretending to be someone you think people want. Be you. Set boundaries. So you need to communicate your comfort levels and respect those of the person you're interacting with or dating. Slow. Take it slow. You've got to build trust gradually before moving on to more personal topics. Don't be pushed into more personal things because that's what they want. Take it at your pace. Also, you could use private settings, right? Privacy settings. You can You can adjust your profile privacy settings to control who can see your information. And as always, like I said, just remember you can fall into the trap of the romantic part of dating online and just rush into things like, oh, I will just meet you in person. Yeah, no worries. Anywhere. No. Meet publicly, safe, public locations, at least initially. And also where safe people know where you are. Well, let's move on to friendships. Okay, we've done dating. Let's go to friendships. So building and maintaining deep connections is super rewarding, right? It's also bloody challenging. Forming friendships usually starts with, I guess, similarities like, oh, you like that? I like that. Let's be friends, right? Shared interests, right? It's clubs, it's groups, passions that align, like-minded people. And once you've made a connection, it's important to nurture it by regularly reaching out and spending time together. As autistic people, first, you could ask about friends, probably don't have many. You could ask about friends they've had in the past and what happened to them, just lost touch or fizzled out or, I don't know, died. It's a plant, basically, right? So here's some tips. Let's get to some tips because these are super important. So for starters, you should look into interest groups. So groups based on interest, because if you're going to participate in a group or even an online community that is based on an interest of yours, well, that's going to be the same as the other people in that group. Therefore, you're finding people that have the same interests and passions as you. So that's a big one. It's a great way to meet people. Be consistent. If you have a friend, we're talking about maintaining friendships for autistic people, which is super important. You have to schedule regular meetups or virtual hangouts. Now, we like to plan. So just put it as part of your weekly routine rather than just, leaving it to chance or who's going to organize it first and then it just becomes 10 years. 10 years has gone by. Oh, I forgot to schedule that meetup. That person. Genuine interest. Your friends are your friends because you are genuinely, what's the word? You're genuinely connected on a pure level. There's something about you as friends, you just get each other and you just like the same stuff. So you enjoy hanging out, right? So nurture that. Always maintain that level of curiosity and interest in your friend's life, their day, their doings, right? And talk to them about it. For autistic people who aren't good at this kind of stuff, okay, so be specific, right? Like ask a question about something that you're passionate about or that you're interested in that gives them an opportunity to share with you. How did you go at blah yesterday? Right? Oh, tell me what you thought of that movie. See, these types of things. Yeah, I get you scripted. That's fine. Reliability is important. You've got to follow through on plans. You've got to be there when your friend needs you, when your friend needs support. Because it's about both. Receiving support, providing support. You've got to communicate openly. You've got to share your thoughts and feelings with your friends. And that's what friends are for, right? I mean, that's literally the phrase. That's what friends are for. You can't vent and be open and honest with your friend, and then what are you doing? Help, assist, be willing to be there for your friends when they need you. Celebrate the milestones. Autistic people aren't always great with acknowledging birthdays and achievements and special events, and I get that. But it's such a small thing to just acknowledge or celebrate an achievement, an event, a birthday, a milestone of a friend. And even if you agree they don't care as much as you don't care, there's still something about hearing it from them that makes you feel good, right? You'd rather your friend knowing that you hate birthdays, at least text you or whatever, like some sort of weird ass birthday message. You'd rather that than not. For example, I might go to someone I know, congratulations. Yeah, congratulations. You're 1 year closer to dying. Have a great bloody birthday. I'm sure you're loving it, right? And they know automatically, number one, oh, it's so cool to hear from you and thank you so much. And they know, and it makes them laugh and they get it. But it's really important to celebrate those moments with your friend. You got to respect their boundaries. You got to understand and respect your friend has limits. Your friend has preferences, boundaries, personal space. Get to know that, understand that. Actively listen to them. So you need to listen to your friends in a non-autistic way. What does that mean, all right? Well, for starters, you can't interrupt them every 2 seconds because there's something on your mind you want to share and you're going to forget about it. I get it. Your friend needs you to listen to them, listen to them. And active listening means you're actually, like attentively, you're actually listening to what they say. And if thoughts come up, just let them go. If you think they're important, write them down or type them into your phone. And if you forget it, it doesn't matter because it's more important that your friend feels like they were heard than you provide them with thoughts you think are important. If your friend's speaking, your friend's speaking. And I didn't know this, by the way. My whole life, I didn't know this, but it's something you learn when you get married. Apparently, neurotypical people, 99% of the time, when they share something with you that sounds like it's an experience or a dilemma or a problem or an issue, 99% of the time, they don't actually say it to you for you to fix. It's like, what do you mean? They don't. So if your friend starts telling you something that's an issue or a problem or something and you've got automatically the autistic brain goes to solutions and fixes and hacks and tips, right? They don't want them. They just wanted to say it. It's like, what? Yeah, I just want to say it because in saying it makes me feel better. It makes you feel better? If I spent my life just talking about all the issues and problems and dilemmas I have, and then I just let them be, yep, I wouldn't be here no more, peeps. I mean, seriously. You want to come to me with your problems. You want to share your problems. And then if I just listen, that's the goal. We're done. No more here. What is wrong with you people? Anyway, that's what they want. So I'm just trying to help you. Believe it or not. The tip is my wife now says to me, and you can do this with your friend, your family, whatever. Orion, I've got a story for you. I don't need it to be fixed. I don't want you to fix it. I don't need any feedback. I don't want your feedback. I just want to vent and tell you a story, and then we can move on. That's the first thing I say. I'm like, oh, cool. Okay, no worries. And then I know I can just attentively listen, but I can just shut up all the thoughts. Right? Or they'll say, look, I've got a problem from today, and I am actually interested in your thoughts and feelings. But first, let me tell you the story, and then you can tell me what you think. I mean, yeah, it's not hard. Self-advocacy. Let's talk about this one. This is super important in relationships, in any relationship. It's because it's clear communication. Self-advocacy basically means expressing your needs, your boundaries, right? Advocating for yourself in a way that's respectful and direct. This is what I was talking about before when I was giving you crap about having boundaries but not telling them to anyone. You have to identify what you need from the friendship, the relationship, and any boundaries you might have. So I'm going to help you now. Okay? I've called you an idiot and a moron, but here's my tips. Self-advocacy is super important. Number one, what's your needs? Identify your needs. Make a list. What you need from a friendship, from a relationship to feel supported. Be direct. No, I can't do that, all right? I can't tell them my boundaries, but you have them. Clearly state your needs and boundaries to your friend, your partner, whoever. How do I do that? Use I statements. So frame your requests using I statements like, I feel, or I need, because it can't be much more clear than that. You need to be assertive. And I know, I get it. It's confrontational. It's bad. Role play conversations can help build confidence in expressing your needs, because you need to work out a way where you can be assertive. And I don't care what people say. Don't listen to bloody HR. Assertiveness is not rude. It's not harassment or bullying. Being a bully or harassing someone is unacceptable. But being assertive and autistic is a different thing, right? You are essentially asserting your boundaries, your needs, your thoughts, your feelings, in a way someone actually can understand it. What happened to the world, by the way? It's you can't even just tell someone something anymore. It's ridiculous. And by the way, everyone lives in a vacuum, except when they go home. So you go to school, you go to school in a vacuum, which means it's a different world. Oh, you can't do this and that, and you can't eat this, and you can't have that, and you can't take this, that, and this there, and you can't do that. And then you go to work, and you work in a bubble, in a vacuum. Oh, we can't treat people like this and say that. What do you mean? Sorry, you can't what? Yeah, you can't tell the other and workmates the truth because they could get offended. Right? Can I tell them the lie? Yes, that'd be much better. Okay, great. And then you go home, what happens? There's no vacuum. There's no bubble. It's the real goddamn world. And there's no HR at home, yeah? You see what I'm saying? It's bloody stupid. Oh, I've forgotten where I was. That's right. These boundaries, by the way, that you refuse to, assert, it's because you left it too late. It's like, when someone gets your name wrong and you just left it too late, now you got to live your life and them calling you O'Brien or Orion or something. And that would be more relevant to me than you, probably. But you see what I'm saying? You got to set them early. Establish boundaries at the beginning of the friendship. And you have to respect others' boundaries. So listen, honor, respect their boundaries. And if you do that, there's really no choice for them but to respect yours. Regular check-ins, discuss your concerns, or provide them with changes in your needs. Being an advocate, being assertive is about staying calm. You've got to remain calm, composed when discussing your boundaries. Don't make them emotional. Don't make them confrontational. When you start to yell and scream or huff and puff and blow the house down, it doesn't work. Remain calm. Look, I just want to be clear that this particular action, it's a real no for me. It's a real clear boundary for me. So going forward, this is not an action that I can accept. It's just it's an absolute boundary. It's a deal breaker. So I just want to put that boundary in place, just so we know going forward. No, this is not something I'm prepared to accept again. And I really appreciate you respecting that boundary, because I really respect this friendship or this relationship. That was an example. I could never do that in real life. Compromise. You have to be willing to find a middle ground that works for both. Okay, when you're advocating for yourself against others. And you've got to be able to take care of yourself. You've got to practice self-care. Right? Well-being. What does that do? That helps you regulate yourself. That helps you thrive as a person. And you advocate for yourself better, because advocating is really trying to maintain self-care and well-being. All right, strap yourself in. Strap yourself in. I've got to family. Woo, Nelly. Holy jeepers. Warning, Orion's about to talk about family. If you have any connection, you may go now, and please don't ever come back. Anything Orion says has no connection, nor is acknowledged or agreed upon by those that work with Orion. Hang on, I am Orion. I'm going to disclaim against my own stuff, idiots. All right, family dynamics. Navigating relationships with family members is bloody complex for autistic people, for autistic adults. Trust me. Family relationships come with high expectations. And here's the thing I hate. long-standing dynamics. And that's challenging to navigate. What do you mean long-standing dynamics? Okay, so you're born, right? Presumably there's some sort of parenting figure, and you play the child figure, and you might have sibling figures. That's your bloody dynamics, mate. You're the kid, they're the parent, right? That's the dynamic. You become a grown-ass man or woman, right? You're an autistic person, but the dynamic is you're still the kid and they're still the parent. But you're an adult. You may well be married with kids, but for them, in that dynamic, you're still the kid and they're still the parent, which is ridiculous, but is a long-standing dynamic. How do you navigate that? It's crazy. It's crucial to set boundaries and communicate your needs clearly, because understanding that it's actually okay to distance yourself from these types of dynamics that are no longer relevant. And also, it's okay to distance yourself from toxic relationships. This could be toxic friends, toxic partners, toxic family members. It's more important to understand this from a family point of view. Okay, so they say, the one thing you can't pick is your family. But the one thing you can't really, walk away from is your family, right? Because they're your family, they're your blood. No, that's bullshit. You can distance yourself from toxicity in any relevance, whether it's family members or not. That is an important step in protecting your mental health and protecting you as a person. And there's this great thought. I read it somewhere and I just thought it's such a profound yet simplistic thought. And the first thing let me say what I'm going to say it, and then you're going to say it's wrong, and here's why, and then I'm going to counter what you said. Okay, here's how the conversation is going to go. I've already worked that in my head. The line is that I think is profound is you can't parent your parent. So if you're a child to a parent and you've now grown up and you're an adult, you're both adults, maybe you are doing better at being an adult than your parent. You can't parent your parent. It's not your job to parent your parent. You can't parent your parent. What does that mean, Orion? When they're old and they've got dementia, what is that? You can't parent them. No, I did not say you can't care for your parent. I said you can't parent your parent. That's what I had in my mind what you were going to say. Of course you can bloody care for your parents. Everyone's going to care for loved ones. Parenting is different. So you can't be responsible for helping, improving, evolving your parent to be a better adult. That's their job. You're their kid, right? But people still fall into this trap. No, it's if you're my parent and I need to help you be better at you being you, then we've missed the whole point of this. Like that's not my role, not what I'm here for, mate. You know. So, you have to understand, guys. It's sometimes people think it's the only option is you can walk away from toxic relationships, but you can't walk away from toxic, family relationships. Well, that's ridiculous. They're all the same. In the end, they're all just relationships with people. And and by the way, when you do decide, if you do decide to do that, I guarantee it is after a long, long time of suffering, being quiet, shutting up, taking it, and then a long, long time of doing your best to try and fix it, alter it, change it, improve it. It's tricky. I find a lot of times, certainly for late diagnosed autistic people, the group of people that probably give you the hardest time with the diagnosis are your family. Not your friends, not your partners, right? It's your own family that often take it the worst, don't believe it, reject it, minimize it, just refuse to take it on, right? And there's many reasons for that. What could they be? They might just purely feel guilty, or they might reject it because if that is something that's true about you, maybe it's true about them. these are issues that are very hard to get past. So, yeah, I mean, this is my common experience from talking to people. It's often the family members that are least helpful in these situations. And then there's many options. You know, if you were diagnosed earlier in life, your parents, you know, may have this pushback because it's just pure resentment now. And that, again, I'm not judging that. You know, parenting a neurodivergent kid, it can be really challenging and really hard. Not as hard as being that neurodivergent kid trying to grow up in this world. That's much harder. But still, I get it. I'm doing it. So let's give some tips with regards to navigating family dynamics, okay? This comes down to boundaries once again. You need family members to know your limits, and you need to continue to tell them when they're crossing them and understand they need to stick to them. You need to communicate your needs clearly. What do you need from your family interactions? You need to find some supportive family members, some allies. So identify those supportive family members who actually get you and understand you, and utilize them to help you as an ally in this situation. You need to manage expectations. This is the big one. Okay, so adjust expectations for family gatherings, for example, to reduce stress. This is so important. Do you know how families have expectations? Well, at Christmas time, right? We'll all get together and we'll all go here and we'll all do this and it'll go like that. Now, if you have an autistic child and you might be autistic, you know that a lot of these things aren't going to happen. We're not going to be here for this long. We're not going to stay for that. We can't contribute all this. No one in our family will be able to eat this type of stuff. Like, everything is different. And why is that a problem? It shouldn't be a problem. Who cares when you get there, when you leave, what you eat? Who cares, right? It makes no difference. Were you together? Yes. But the issue is expectations. No. I expect my family will all prepare blah and blah and bring blah and blah and arrive at this time and not leave until this time and eat all this, and everyone will be happy and enjoyable and we'll all have one big table and one big noisy room. No. Expectations kill it. You have to adjust your expectations. They need to be realistic. Family gatherings, any type of things related to your family. Let's start again with our expectations. Here's a reality, and here is our expectations. And by the way, me personally and my family, we have no expectations anymore. Our only expectation or goal is to provide the best possible experience for our kids, our family. That's it. Any other expectation is completely irrelevant. Self-care. Take time for yourself. Now, with regards to family, what I mean is you've had an expectation of being at a gathering, right? An event. Okay, cool. And you went there. Great. You need to give yourself some time afterwards. I find after birthday parties and gatherings and get-togethers and stuff, I could be close to death in a non-realistic way. I've just got to turn off, switch off, go away, get away from my own family, just hide. I need to give myself time. That's important. Staying connected can also be important. And a great tip to stay connected is to maintain regular communication with those supportive family members, those allies, those family members who get you and understand you, supportive of you. You need to maintain regular communication with them. It's important to maintain those relationships. Because very, very rarely is this kind of, walking away from a toxic family dynamic the whole thing, right? It isn't about yes or no, cut or dry. Outside support. Who can you talk to? Could it be therapists, psychologists, just support groups, other autistic people to deal with navigating family dynamics? Find support from outside of your family. Self-compassion is important. Just be kind to yourself and acknowledge, what? We didn't get there on time. We didn't stay very long. The boys were too stressed to eat. People were probably happy when we finally left. But you know what? We did it. We got there. We experienced it. The boys had fun. That's a win, right? That's just being compassionate and kind to yourself. Educating your family is definitely something you need to take on board. People will go, well, it's not my job. You want to know about it. Great. But, you're the best teacher. If they're your family and you can share them, for me, this is the thing that I find challenging. Being autistic in this situation, it's this, right? Everyone's different. They can read some document, but it's in general terms. Share your experiences. Share how you experience life through the lens of being autistic to help them understand your perspective, your experiences, your challenges, your strengths. And bottom line, my friends, you've got to know when to step back. You've got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them. It's okay to limit, even avoid contact with toxic family members. This is what it is. This is what it is. You have to know when to step back. And you can try your entire life and never succeed. At some point, you are going to need to call it. And it is okay to step back and do what's best for you and your own family.
My Friend Autism with Orion Kelly. Catch up on all the episodes at orionkelly.com.au.
Now, want to learn more about navigating relationships, navigating neurodiverse relationships even? I've got a playlist on my primary YouTube channel, Orion Kelly, that autistic guy, called Autism and Relationships. I reckon if you want more information, go and binge that particular playlist, and hopefully you'll get some more valid thoughts and feelings and expressions on how you can navigate it. But by the way, if you have any thoughts and feelings, please, I want to see them in the comments.
You've been listening to My Friend Autism with Orion Kelly. To join the conversation, get in touch with Orion and binge all the podcasts, blogs and videos, visit orionkelly.com.au.